Hey guys, how's it going? Today I'm going to be doing the Guilty Language Learners tag. It's a video that was originally done by Ophelia and it was also then done by Language Learning Lounge. So I watched both of theirs and I really liked them, and I thought that it's a really good idea for a video, and I wanted to kind of give my answers to the responses as well. I will also shake it up a little bit, as Ophelia did mention in the final part of her video, to make it better or make it your own. So I will try and add my own question at the end as well. So we have 5 and potentially one more questions as part of the Guilty Language Learner tag. Question 1. Which language do you never make time for? For me, that would be Malaysian. I spent my high school years learning the Indonesian language, Bahasa Indonesia. Then, when I felt that I was finally conversant to speak with my family who are Malaysian. They essentially turned around and went, "Oh no, he's speaking with the Bahasa Indonesia accent and not with the Bahasa Malaysia accent." From then on in, from when I was about 18 years old, all the only kind of learning of Bahasa Malaysia that I ever did was just trying to spot the differences when Indonesian people and Malaysians spoke, and then trying to kind of mold my accent to fit them. So I'd be like, oh, okay, when Indonesian people say, oh, I want to do this, they would say saya mau, but when Malaysian people say it, they would say saya nak. So like it's really just been a process of kind of feeling my way around and seeing what works and what doesn't work. So I guess that would be the answer. There's been no real sit down study, figure this thing out for Bahasa Malaysia for me. Question number 2. Which language do you think you'll never learn? There's a bunch of reasons why I feel people wouldn't learn a particular language, and I don't think it has anything to do with, oh, I hate this language, or I don't like da 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 da. But for example, I am really, really curious by, or into, curious about, is that English? I'm really curious about learning classical languages, languages that aren't really used anymore, proto languages like Proto German, or the thing that all the other languages spawns from, as well as fantasy languages and created languages. So this could be either something like Esperanto or something from a novel like Elvish or Valyrian or something like that. I'm really interested in these languages, but I just feel I'm never ever going to learn them. Just from a looking at it from a point of, I have a limited amount of time in my life and I have a limited amount of languages that I'm ever only going to be conversant in. Um, there just doesn't seem to be enough of a push for me to sit down and study those languages. And I know that all those languages have very enthusiastic communities of people who do like that language, so good for them. But yeah, I probably would never get around to learning a classical language or a fantasy language. And I guess, as a language learner, you've just got an eternal list of languages that you would love to know. And so any of those languages that probably fall out of your top 3 or top 10 would probably never get time to dedicate to them. Question number 3. What's your most expensive slash least valuable language related investment? So for what's my most expensive language related investment, it would probably be the Oman study trip that I did at the end of 2014, where I paid a sum of money, which I will not say, to travel to Oman for 2 months, as an Arabic immersion program. The largest amount of money that I put out there was actually, once I was already in the country, buying stuff like clothes and silly tourist things, and paying for meals and stuff. The living and stuff there was actually probably the most expensive part of the trip. So, but it was totally worthwhile. Least valuable language related investment. I actually haven't made a lot of investment with my language learning, both in terms of time as well as financially. So, I think I'm pretty much in the all clear for that. Question number 4. What's a lie you tell to non-language learners to try and get them to learn languages? I'm actually not a big language learning zealot, I guess, so I don't go out and be like, hey guys, well, bam, you should learn some languages. But if you ever ask me about it in person, I will be very, very enthusiastic about it. I guess probably the thing that I kind of deceive people about the most is that it has been very easy for me and it's been very stress free, and that I am in any way good at the languages that I speak. I have noticed this once I kind of say one or two words in Arabic or Indonesian, people just go, oh, hey, wow, you speak really good that language. And that's coming from somebody who may not necessarily know what that language even sounds like. So obviously, it's going to sound really, really good. So perhaps just me being kind of okay to speak with people is the biggest deception that I pull um, in regards to language learning, is that people probably feel that I am a bit more confident than I actually am, and perhaps they read that as being it's easy. I'm not really sure about that one. Question number 5: what is your language learning guilty pleasure? That would be for me music. Music would be my language learning guilty pleasure. And it's also related into another thing, which is stopping and starting anything, everything. I really enjoy listening to music in other languages, especially I really like listening to folk music of different cultures and different languages, as well as pop and rap music, which I don't listen to in English generally. I enjoy listening to them in other languages. I'm not sure why. But what happens after this is I spend a lot of time consuming this music and like looking at like the artists and getting really invested in them, and then going, well, yeah, I have to learn Kazakh, or I have to learn Polish, or I have to learn, I don't know. Yeah, they're my two kind of current like uh, music pursuit things, or Armenian or Georgian or something like that. Just by listening to the music, I'll go, yeah, 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 this is a really good idea. I really need to learn this language. And hey, I have not yet successfully learnt a language that started off in a musical way. I have never, gotten that far. But essentially, every 1 or 2 weeks, I will go, "This is the language I need to learn," because I've just been listening to a lot of music in that language. And 3 weeks down the track, I'll find music in another language and just drop everything and go, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I got to learn this now." So that's my guilty pleasure, I guess, just stopping and starting because I find cool music in different languages. And lastly, I'm going to add a question 6, and you can totally, if anyone watches this, you can totally add this to your language tag too. Um, that would be, what's the language that people think you know, but you really don't know it that well? For me, that would be Arabic, because I have been quite public about me studying Arabic. I went overseas, so people know I went overseas to study Arabic, and I did it at university. So there's this kind of assumption that I'm going to be really good at it. And there's a bunch of problems with that. Firstly, is I have regressed a lot in my Arabic because I just haven't studied it since I've been in uni. And the other problem is the dialects, really, because I have regressed in a language that is like the standard form. And here in Australia, many Arabs speak their dialect. So not only am I struggling to relearn like the standard Arabic, but then like I'm also struggling because I can't use what I have to communicate with people. But again, no one really knows that unless they speak Arabic. So that's the thing. I think a lot of people probably think I speak Arabic a bit better than I do. All right, so that's actually been really fun. That was a really cool tag. So thank you, Ophelia, and thank you for other YouTubers for carrying it along. I hope you've enjoyed it, and hope you'll stay around for my next videos.